I'm going to record a quick little video, maybe 15 minutes at max, a video on an assignment for Introduction to Functions on Edgenuity. I'm going to share my screen. All right, now we've got a question about independent and dependent variables. So the independent variable, actually the dependent variable is probably the easier one to figure out. The dependent variable here is going to be distance, because, hold on while I get my pen out. We want distance because distance depends on the time that Jillian went jogging. So the dependent variable depends on something else. The independent variable is time, because that just depends on how long Jillian is going to decide to jog. So the independent variable is time, and the dependent variable is distance. Okay, this is a quick little vertical line test. This is a nice little test to see if it's a function. Now, if it's a vertical line and it hits more than 1 point, that hits every point on the line, so that's not a function. If you draw a few lines here, that's going to hit more than 1 point. If you draw some lines here, that only hits 1 point, but as you get to the center, notice that it hits 2 points here and here. And if you draw a bunch of vertical lines on this one, you're never going to hit more than 1 point. So this is a function. All right, now the set of ordered pairs represents a function. What is the range of the function? So we want to look at the y values of these ordered pairs, and remember it goes x, y. So the y value is the second coordinate in an ordered pair. So 8 is a y value, so is 3, -2, -7, and we just want to put those in ascending order. -7 is the lowest, then -2, then 3, then 8. So that is the range of the function, the second choice on that problem. Okay, domain and range. Determine the domain and range from the graph. The domain is going to be all real numbers. Here are the choices. All real numbers greater than or equal to -2, a certain set of points for x, or a certain set of points for y. So domain is the set of the x values. It definitely doesn't make sense for it to be the last choice. It definitely doesn't make sense to be the last choice there. Now, why is it all real numbers? Because we have an arrow on the left side of the graph. It's going to keep going up and to the left forever. And we have an arrow on the right side of the graph, so it's going to keep going to the right forever. So eventually it's going to hit every number on the x-axis going to the left, and eventually it's going to hit every number on the x-axis going to the right. So it literally doesn't matter what number we can put in. We can put in any number for x and get an output. So the domain is all real numbers. Now the range stops at -2, and all the y values are above that point. So y has to be any number greater than or equal to -2. All right, now for a function, to be a function, the x values cannot repeat. So we can't have an arrow going from one input to two different outputs. So we have an arrow going from 4 to -2. We also have an arrow going from 4 to +2. So in other words, 4 repeats. And that is an X value because it's an input. So we have to delete one of the ordered pairs where 4 is an input. So we have to delete 4, -2. Or we could delete 4, +2, but that's not an option. Now notice that two different inputs can go to the same output. 2 goes to -3 and -1 goes to -3. That's fine. It only is a problem if 2 different inputs go to two of the same input go to 2 different outputs. All right, check all that apply. All functions have a dependent variable. That is true. All functions have an independent variable. That is true. The range of a function includes its domain. No, that doesn't make sense. The domain is the X values and range is the Y values. There's no intersection of those terms. They're separate. A vertical line is an example of a functional relationship. No, that's going to fail the vertical line test. A horizontal line is an example of a functional relationship. Yes, we saw that earlier, so we can do that quickly. If we have a horizontal line and we do the vertical line test, it's only going to hit 1 point. So a horizontal line is a function. And each output of a function can correspond to only one input value. No, each input value can only respond to one output value. All right, which one represents a function? We can do this quickly. The X values cannot repeat. So if we see 2 of the same X value, that's a problem. So here we have the same X value here. Here we have the same X value. And we have the same X value here, -12 and -12. All of these X values are different on the second choice, -8, -4, 0, 2, 4. So those are fine. That is a function. All right, consider a function that describes how a particular car's gas mileage depends on its speed. So the gas mileage is the dependent function, the dependent variable, and the independent variable is speed. What is an appropriate domain? So that's X values. Domain is X values. Those are the independent values, the independent variable. So the independent variable is speed because the speed at which you're driving determines how many miles of gas you're using, how many gallons of gas you're going to use. So the speed of the car would be anywhere from 0 to 100 miles per hour. Hopefully we're not driving more than 100 miles per hour. So that's an appropriate domain. All right, what are the possible values as X and Y for 2 distinct points, 5 and -2, and XY to represent a function? The value of X, we just have to remember that the X values cannot repeat. So X can literally be any number except 5, any real number except 5. the value of y, it doesn't matter if it's -2, the output values can repeat, so it can literally be any real number. And one more problem, I'm going to leave number 11 to do on your own. Oh no, I got shut out. Bear with me for a second. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Please let me know if you want me to record any other videos for you. Let's go back to the assignment. And there we go. Okay, so we have, Emma is an artist and has created 7 paintings. That's the independent variable. That's already happened. She plans to paint 3 additional paintings each week. So the number of weeks is going to be our dependent variable. The total number of paintings actually is going to be the independent variable. I may have misspoke earlier. The total number of paintings is going to be the independent variable. No, I said that wrong again, sorry. The dependent variable is going to be the total number of paintings because that depends on the number of weeks that she's painting. So hopefully that makes sense. I mixed up my words, but since the total number of paintings depends on how many weeks she's painting, that is called the dependent variable. The total number of paintings depends on the number of weeks that have passed. So the number of weeks is the independent variable. So that should make sense. That as she paints for more weeks, the total number of paintings is going to go up. So that depends on the independent variable. And this is a scenario for a function because there will be exactly 1 total number of paintings for every week. So if we looked at a graph, it'd start at 7 and go up 3 each week. So it's going to pass the vertical line test, and that is going to be a function. It's only going to hit 1 point each time. All right, sorry about that mix up earlier. Oh, that is the last problem that we're going to go over. So hopefully that you find that video helpful. Let me know if you need any more videos. This has been Mr. McGivney recording a video for Edgenuity.